Thank you so much. I love you. You just jinxed me, damn it. So much news about healthcare recently. I wanted to share a healthcare story of my own with you. About 10 years ago, my right testicle swelled up real good. And like any responsible adult that had recently had unprotected sex with multiple partners, I saw my doctor to get checked out. And after a couple rounds of tests, I was a little concerned that I might have contracted a nut and STD. So I was so relieved when he came back to me and said, "You've got testicular cancer." I was like, whoa, load off my mind. Because cancer garners a lot more sympathy than herpes. And nobody brings you flowers or home-cooked meals when you have gonorrhea. And the good thing about a cancer diagnosis is there's none of those embarrassing phone calls to ex-lovers, you know, like, "Hey, Marcella, it's Derek. That's for the regulars. Derek, from 2 weeks ago. No, 6.5 feet tall. No, dark hair. No tattoos. Hey, you didn't happen to give me cancer, did you?" Call unnecessary. But it was scary at the time because it's cancer. I'd never had surgery before, and my doctor had a horrible crotch-side manner. He was so cavalier when he explained what was about to happen to me. He showed me these ultrasounds, and he says, "Now, here's your left testicle, and it's healthy. And this is your right one, and that's the tumor. And we're going to take it out. You're taking the tumor out." "No, we're taking the testicle and the tumor out." "Okay, you're taking the testicle and tumor out, and you'll take the tumor off, and then put the testicle back." No, we keep the testicle." "So you'll put in a fake one?" No, don't worry, you'll be fine. I'm going to be fine. This man's going to take one of my 3 favorite body parts, but I will be fine. You know they at least give show dogs nudicles? You heard of those? The fake rubber testicles for dogs? The website says that nudicles allow your dog to maintain his natural shape and self-esteem, and aid in the trauma associated with neutering. I ask you this, can an animal that eats its own feces have self-esteem? But men, if you could lick your own balls and one day you woke up and they were gone, you would be traumatized. Damn, my weekend is shot. So I find out on a Thursday. My 31st birthday is Saturday, and on Monday I'm having surgery. And Saturday night I have this party. I don't tell any of my friends. I don't want them to worry. But a buddy of mine stayed over after the party at my apartment from out of town, and I was dying to tell somebody. I'm like, "Hey man, I've got cancer, and they're going to take my testicle, and having surgery." And he was really great about it. He calmed me down. We talked and laughed, reminisced, and finally, you know, we both went to bed. He crashed on my couch. I went to my bedroom, and I was still thinking and couldn't fall asleep, and I was thirsty. Went to the kitchen for a glass of water. And I see him on the couch, and I realize that his blanket's fallen off, and I tiptoe over to place it back on him gently so as not to wake him up. And I stand there for a moment thinking, I've got cancer, but I'm really, really lucky. Because I have friends that will throw me a party, and I have somebody to share my fears with. And then I teabagged him. Because it was the last chance I had to do that with a full set. And he handled it well. I mean, he took it well. I mean, he didn't get mad. It's true what they say. When you go through an experience like cancer, it kind of changes your perspective. It makes you appreciate little things in life, like having a second testicle to scratch once in a while. And it did limit my range of genital impressions because, you know, 2 pieces of fruit is hardly a fruit basket make. And now I can only do my Dizzy Gillespie from a profile. All I have is a trumpet and 1 cheek to puff out. One missing. But in terms of healthcare, I mean, I was lucky. I had health insurance that covered everything. Free. Not a dime. I mean, I hope healthcare gets worked out in this country. If it happened to me some other time, I could have been bankrupt. And Obama's got so much to deal with and so many decisions to make about Afghanistan and the economy. And I think one of the best decisions he made recently was about the North Korean imprisoned reporters. He sent Bill Clinton to go rescue them and get them freed. I thought that was a very good decision. Maybe not his toughest decision. I mean, if any U.S. diplomat, who's more qualified than Bill Clinton to go pick up 2 young Asian girls in a private jet? I mean, chances are it may have been in his weekend plans already. And it's normally the sort of thing that Hillary, as Secretary of State, would have negotiated, and she tried. Her and Kim Jong-il had a lot of talks, and they fell through. And he decided he wouldn't talk to Hillary anymore, but he would deal with Bill. And it made me think that it's another case of Bill having to take care of something that Hillary couldn't handle herself. She forgave him. You should too. And it made me consider his condition, his libidinousness. And I think as a nation, we appreciate a horny president. Name another horny president who was the last century. Famous horny president. Kennedy. 2 of our most beloved presidents, one thing they have in common, both extremely horny. And they both have gorgeous wives. Okay, that's it. But I think we're safer as a nation when we know that our president has an active sex life. Because if you can push a button and end the entire world, you're less likely to do it. There's the slightest chance you might get laid that weekend. And that's why I was terrified for the last 8 years. But I think Barack is taking care of business. He and Michelle probably doing a good thing. And it's got to be pretty cool for Barack Obama to have sex in the White House, I think. I mean, he's the first African-American man to be able to say, "Who's your president? Who's your president?" And I'd like to think that they have a door hanger that says, "If this Lincoln bedroom's Barackin', don't come a-knockin'." But I feel close to Obama because he's about my age, and we're both of mixed race. Not everybody knows this, but for the first 20 years of my life, I passed as a white man. And I was really good at it, I think, in part because I didn't know I was part black until I was 20 years old. And it's this family story about my mom never meeting her dad, and we found out later this uncle shows up when I'm 20 and says, "Hey, your grandmother knows who your grandfather is, and he's black." And I'm like, oh my God, like a revelation. I always kind of wondered. Nobody knew. And it was so eye-opening. It explained a lot about myself below the waist. Because I am a pretty good dancer. And I tried to find some resources to help me sort through this transformation. I came across this really helpful book entitled "Kinda Black Like Me." It helped. It was good. And my dad was a big support system for me. He was willing to talk about things whenever I needed someone to discuss these things with. And my mom was part black, my dad was white. And my dad says one day, "So, how black do you feel?" And I told him, "Well, cracker, let me break it down for you." And I was trying to realize, yeah, how black am I? How black am I? My grandfather's black, so I could be a quarter black, but it seemed like too much. He's light-skinned black, but you know he's black. You can't really tell I am. I settled on 1/8. It seemed fair to be an 1/8 black. And in slave times, they had terms like, as mixed race, I could be mulatto, just generically mulatto. Or as 1/8, I could be octoroon. And those kind of sound like Girl Scout cookies to me, like I'll have a box of octoroons and 2 boxes of mulattoes. And the scary thing was that during slave times, had I been born back then, during slave times, 1/8 black was enough to be considered a slave. So obviously I felt really fortunate not to have been born during slave times because, you know, I really hate to sing while I work. Thanks so much for sharing your time with me. That's my time. Thanks.